All right, we are live. Hello, everybody.
How's it going, guys?
Hello. How you guys? Good. Is everybody doing okay?
Yes, doing great.
Doing great.
All right. Well, we've got a fantastic group in Twitch. Thank you all for joining us there. And Grant from Meepleville is moderating. I think we have Aldi and Lincoln as well as again. So it's nice to have everybody here. So what I want to do is just go ahead and welcome everybody so we can go ahead and introduce, and then we'll get started with the show. I'll start off with me first. And hello, everybody. My name is Tim. I am from Las Vegas, and I own Meepleville Board Game Cafe. I have a small YouTube channel called Meepleville, so you go ahead and check that out. And I also run Dice Tower West, and I'm starting to try to do some stuff on Twitch now, too. So we'll see how that experiment goes. And then we'll start right next door from Motor City Motown. Hi, Dwayne.
Hello. How you guys doing? My name is Dwayne. I have a small YouTube channel called Blackboard Gaming, where I teach my wife about all these great board games that are out there. At the same time, just trying to broaden everybody's horizons so they can learn about, it's a lot more out there than Monopoly and Sorry. So, it's some great games. And that's pretty much what I'm doing.
Great. There surely is. A welcome, Dwayne. Great to have you. And then we've got Beneeta up there. Hello, Beneeta.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beneeta Kaur. I was a former Girls' Game Shelf member, and now I have my own Twitch channel. If you see me in chat, you can click on my link where I play board games. I'm currently also doing just chatting streams, and I'm also doing Phoenix Wright because it's really fun, so why not?
Very good. And you know what, Beneeta, real quick, because I know you mentioned it last week, you're a lawyer?
I am a lawyer, yes. So that's like another incentive. Everyone always told me Phoenix Wright was a lot of fun. So I figured, okay, let's see how realistic it is. It's not, but I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not a trial attorney, so getting to say objection all the time has fulfilled all when I was 5 and wanted to do that. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Good. Well, glad to have you back. And then right lower there, all the way from New Jersey, we have Jazz. Hey, Jazz.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Jazz from the Lobby of Hobbies. I run a small YouTube channel where we do board game reviews and just share games in hopes that people discover something worth checking out. We also have a small podcast. It's on a little bit of a hiatus right now, but we pretty much on the podcast just talk about hobbies in general and how we can merge the hobbies along with board gaming hobby as well. So, we just want to spread the love of games and, get people to the table.
Sounds fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us, Jazz. It's great to have you here. And again, he's holding down the middle spot. Yeah, holding us all together. Oh, let me find a Jazz's thing. Where'd it go? Right there. And there he is. And that is Ruel. Hello, Ruel.
Hi, Tim. I was just thinking, Tim, I think you are now the busiest man in all of board gaming. I'm so happy to be here, though, friends. My name is Ruel Gaviola. I'm a writer, podcaster, live streamer. You can find all my work all over the interwebs. Recent projects include some marketing articles for Renegade Game Studios. I produced a live event for Roll20 recently, and I live stream board games almost every day here on Twitch on my channel. I'm a proud board member of the American Tabletop Awards and Tabletop Writers Guild. I'm also an organizer of the Tabletop Live Network, and that's an event that I work co-organize with the brothers Murph. We get a bunch of live Twitch live streamers together to do an all-day event, and we're looking forward to that. So happy to be here, Tim. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely, Ruel. It's always a pleasure. And folks, you can see why I call him the James Brown of content creation. The hardest working man in content creation. And then we have Amanda, which I just found out has the longest hair on the panel. Hello, Amanda.
Hello, everybody. I'm Amanda Panda. I am currently streaming on Twitch, playing board games with friends and doing a solo crafting or a solo gaming stream on Thursdays. You can just click on my name in the chat, or it's right here. You can find me everywhere on the interwebs under Panda Angel, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. And yes, I do have a long hair, so my hair is all the way down.
Whoa!
That's way longer than I thought.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very, very long.
Wait, I have long hair too. Maybe we need to have a long hair off, Amanda.
Yeah. Get it wet,
I lose.
And then she hasn't been here for a while, but it's so nice to see you again. Thank you for joining us. We got Estefania with us. Hello, Estefania.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back. So yeah, my name is Estefania Rodriguez, and I am a board game designer. I also help run Break My Game, which is a Discord group that helps people play test and kind of build up their game and kind of be part of the community for everyone. And then I also help run Seattle's playtesting group as well on Discord. So if you ever want to play games with me and playtest your game, then I'm happy to join you one day with those groups.
Fantastic. And yes, folks, and just so you know, Estefania is fantastic. If you need any help with prototypes, games, and all that kind of stuff, she's always willing to help. She's always available, and she's always in all the groups and all that kind of stuff. So she's a great resource to know. And right down there, we have our international guest with us tonight. Welcome from Mexico. Hello, Oscar.
Hello, I am Oscar Gonzalez, el dog Logan. I'm part of the Punchbowl Media. I have a small YouTube channel where I do playthroughs, so I teach how to play the game so everybody can know what is best for them based on what they see and how it's played. And from time to time, I try to write reviews also in the punchbowlmedia.com. And well, basically, that's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you, Oscar. Thank you for joining. And just so you folks know, Oscar does his reviews in Spanish. So, yes. So if anybody wants games maybe that get out to the Spanish community, there's a person you can send them to right there. And all the way down in the corner, last but certainly not least, we have Candice back with us. Hello, Candice.
Hey, Tim. Thanks again for having me. Oh, that's not me.
Old man with technology. Yeah, sorry.
I'm Candice Harris. I'm a board game geek news contributor, part-time, and I'm kind of focused more so on covering heavier games and getting into dabbling in some war games too. Trying to get them some more coverage in BGG News. I also am designing a game on the side, so I would definitely like to talk to Estefania about that at some point. And I have a show that I'm working on where I'll be interviewing board game designers called Board Game Breakdown, which will be coming out soon.
Well, fantastic. Well, again, Candice, thank you so much for joining us and being with us here this week again. Yeah. Great to have you as always. So, folks, we got a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about some games, see if there's any news. One of the main topics, I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And, of course, our top three. I'll save that for a little bit later. But I always like to start off with some of the games we've played recently and let folks, kind of see what we've been up to. So, Ruel, why don't we start with you? What have you been playing lately?
I have played the last two games that I played are really fun. So I got a brand new one right here called Seven Summits. This is from Deepwater Games. I think it comes out next week or something like that. But if you like the classic Can't Stop, I think this will be your jam. It's a push your luck game. It actually has a theme. You're trying to climb up mountains and you use four-sided dice. So I like the choice that they made with the dice because they look like little mountains.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But instead of a pure dice roller, you do have like abilities that you can use. Each player has like a little player board and it has like a small little tech tree. So as you go on certain mountains, you will gain certain technologies that you can use to mitigate dice and so forth. So that's the one I just played. I have one more that I'd like to share. And this is sort of an oldie but goodie that I haven't played in a while, but oh my gosh. I'm a big Knizia fan, and Blue Lagoon is outstanding.
Nice.
Yeah. I love Knizia games, and Blue Lagoon is a fun game that I introduced to my wife and our daughter Lauren too. We played this weekend, and they loved it. That was the first time they played it. It's been a while since I played it, but I forgot how much I love this game. It's classic Knizia. It's got network building and set collection. But it's really streamlined. You do one thing on your turn, you place a piece, and then that's it. And then you're trying to maneuver your way around the islands and stuff. So Blue Lagoon, another hit. This one, fantastic games. Has anyone played Blue Lagoon before? Or?
I have not.
Just one.
I played it.
Yeah.
It's something I do want to play with my wife. I think she would like it, but it's not as great with just two players because it leaves the board open.
Yeah, agreed.
At least three.
I agree, Dwayne. Yeah, three is definitely. I think 4 is probably the best. 3 is good. 2 does. Yeah, it feels like it's a little too open because you want that competition for the spaces, right? You want it to be a little tighter. But
How similar is it through Canisius Through the Ages?
that one. So I like this one better.
Through the Desert.
Through the Desert. That's right.
Yeah, Through the Desert. You all knew what I meant.
Yeah, Through the Desert. I prefer this one. It's been a while since I played Through the Desert, but I feel like Blue Lagoon, for me at least, it's a more streamlined. There's not as many. I don't know. Has anyone else played Through the Ages and Blue Lagoon? Do you have any thoughts on that? Anyone else?
I played Through the Ages.
I played Forbidden Desert.
Yeah, right.
Exactly the same brain.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I like the art in this better. I just think it's livelier. It's more colorful, and it just looks better. Like Through the Desert, it has that very old, like Euro, like bland, like like boring camels and stuff. Where this looks like Moana, the board game.
But Through the Desert does have like the cute colored camels. Like they're like pink and white and stuff. Yeah, so they're not super boring.
No, that's true. That's true. I know Through the Desert takes a little longer to play. This one, it's two rounds and that's it. 2 rounds of scoring and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Candice fan. I like most of the games I've played. I haven't played too many of his. I mean, he's got what 600 or 700 published, which is right?
Yeah,
quite a few.
Yeah. So those are the 2 games that I played recently. Tim, I'm going to, Beneeta, what games have you played recently?
I recently played The Crew.
Oh,
So everyone has that reaction when they talk about it, but I never grew up playing trick-taking games. So the first few times I played it, I found it a little difficult because like my brain like couldn't understand what trick-taking games. What does that mean to get a trick? But now that I played it like 2 or 3 times, I kind of get it more, and it is fun, and I'm getting better at it. And I also played Sergata in Istanbul this weekend.
Nice choices.
So good.
Yeah.
So now that you're a trick-taking game person, I can introduce you to like the 5 other trick-taking games that I love, right?
Okay. I'm a little scared, but sure.
Did you end up liking it, Beneeta, though? Did you end up liking The Crew?
Yeah, as I like the first few times, like the most recent game, like I was like, okay, this makes more and more sense every time I play. And the last few times, like I was like, okay, wait, let me do this. Let me play the rocket at this point. And so like I was starting to get into like the strategy, so I had more fun with that.
Nice,
cool.
How about Estefania? What did you play? What have you played recently?
Well, recently, really, I play test a lot, so I have played a bunch of games that are not out yet. But I did get to play a little bit of Point and Teller with my partner. It's just kind of a quick game that we do at the end of the night sometimes when we work pretty late. So just to kind of relax, we play a little bit of Point Salad, which is honestly always fun. I've never had it's really nice. But yeah, besides that, I don't get to play much since I'm working on my own game, and I help play test all these games. But hopefully when the pandemic is done or we're able to go back out safely, it'll be nice to play with friends again and actually get some gaming, like fun gaming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Point Salad is just so good for getting new people in because the rules are simple. You can literally teach and play a game. I've challenged people when they come into Meepleville. I say, no, sit down. I'll teach you and we'll play a whole game in 10 minutes. Promise, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic. Yeah,
it really is. Okay, so let's see. Candice, let's see what you've been playing.
Okay, cool. So I have been playing 2 things that I'll bring up. One game is, I'm sure everybody's heard of it because it's getting a lot of buzz this week because of Kickstarter, but Carnegie, which just launched on Kickstarter this week. Steph at BGG was kind enough to teach it to me, and Matthew from BGG also. On Saturday, we played on TTS, Tabletop Simulator, and man, it was just really rocking my brain in the right way. I love all the mechanics, and everything is just so smooth and melds together so well, and there are just so many interesting decisions and just satisfying, rewarding moments. I think it's probably the most excited I've been about a Euro game probably since last year when I played Nippon for the first time, even though I know that's an older game. But I was really like impressed with how that all worked together. So anyway, I liked it, and I also got to play a partial game of it on Board Game Arena last night, and I liked it even more now that I know what I'm doing and everything. So I'm really digging that. And spoiler alert, I did back it this morning. I know, I was like, do I need another Kickstarter? But I really, really enjoyed it.
They put it up on Board Game Arena already?
Yes, which is huge. Like that's it's really great. It's really smooth. Although I will note that playing on TTS was a little faster because there are certain things that you can do in the game simultaneously, even though the rules say do it in turn order. So, and Board Game Arena enforces that turn order. So, sometimes I feel like it's going to take a little longer on there. But it's so nice where you can hover over things and see what every tile means, and like it's really, really well done. So I encourage people to check it out and see if it's something you might want to back.
What's the name
again? Carnegie. Yeah, it's by.
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say it's by the same. I was going to say it's by the same designer who did Gamegopolis. He's one of the designers from Twa and a couple of Black Angel, a couple other big ones. So I'm becoming a fan of his. But go ahead, Beneeta. What were you going to say?
I was just saying I really appreciate that games are starting to do that because sometimes it's kind of a big deal before you drop like $100 on a Kickstarter.
Yep.
And I maybe want to try it first. And I think that people who like it will buy it. You know what I mean? They're not going to be like, oh, I can just play it on like BGA. No, you want the real game. Like
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah. We were actually just having that conversation last night because there are some like publishing companies who are still like they don't want to put their games out on TTS or Tabletopia or BGA, and it's like ultimately I think they're going to be losing, because I think you're going to get more people interested in it once they can play it, if it's a great game, So Carnegie has been one, and I'm definitely like itching to play it more. And then the other one is an older game, Combat Commander Europe. And this is a tactical 2-player kind of scenario-driven hex and counter war game that has this really, really cool hand management with these multi-use cards. And there's a lot of interesting chaos to the game, which is really fun. And the only reason I had heard people talking about like, oh, Combat Commander's great. But I was like, it doesn't look like something I'd enjoy until a couple of friends of mine were saying that they really liked it. And it was like they're not hardcore war gamers or anything, but they were saying that's one of their favorite card-driven war games. So I was like, let me check it out. And I'm really glad I did because now I'm all like trying to get the expansions and everything.
That's good.
Yeah, no,
You're hooked.
It's super fun, and plus, my partner Matt actually enjoys playing it with me. So we popped on some like 9-inch nails, and just like I was the Germans, he was the Russians, and we just had a great time playing it. I'm like, can we do this every day? But probably not.
Is it easy to get into?
It's not that hard. I would say it's not easy. Like there are a couple things you have to like learn with the line of sight and a couple intricacies, but overall I would say it's like a medium weight game. And if you read the rules and like watch a video, they also like GMT is really good about putting examples of play in the back of the rule book, or they have a playbook sometimes. So we actually did that because sometimes I play with Matt and he feels like because I learned the rules ahead of time I have some advantage. So I was like, let's go through the example play together and we just like, it told us what to do. And even just doing that, we had such a blast. And then, you know, when we took the training wheels off and played our first game, we did have to like say, wait, how does this work? And there are some good player aids. So I say it's medium. It's not too complicated at all. It's a very smooth system, but it's just, I think, depending on what scenario you get into, they have different types of terrain because they have these different maps that you'll play. And you just have to like understand how line of sight works with attacking. And you could be on a hill. And what does that mean if this person's got a hedge in front of them? So you have to kind of like learn that. But there are excellent player aids in there that are just like, oh, you know, if I move on this type of terrain, it costs me 2 movement. So it's really it's not bad, but there is like a little bit of a learning curve.
Oh, okay.
So,
Very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fun.
Nice.
So I should pass this over. I'm gonna pass it up to Jazz. Jazz, what have you
Oh,
been
all right,
playing?
my turn. I've been playing some stuff on the lighter side. Obviously, this pandemic hasn't helped me with getting all the Kickstarters that are coming into me, you know, play because they're primarily a lot of the heavier stuff. But the most recent game I played was last night or the night before, Potion Explosion, actually 2 nights ago. And I don't know, I love it. It's a great family game. Awesome kind of, you know, engine builder where you get those potions out. And I think this is like a perfect game to just introduce to new players, especially people who, you know, are into a lot of those bubble games on their phone and Candy Crush and things like that. 'Cause that's the first thing when they see all those marbles coming out of that dispenser. That's the first thing that they're going to look at is, you know, how do you chain these marbles together, which is great. You know, of course I didn't win like always. My wife destroyed in a 3-player game, and then my brother-in-law came in and made us all look bad in the second game. So I played that. I've also played Sorcerer City, which is an awesome deck builder / tile laying game. And you know, Sorcerer City is great. I actually put a review up on my channel earlier today, and it's one that I just love. First of all, I'm a huge fan of tile laying games, and you know, Carcassonne is that cool, just sit back, chill, relax with a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, whatever your preference of drink is, and just, you know, lay some tiles. And sometimes you get a little cutthroat, but the idea of this, when everybody's just building simultaneously, and you know, it's not overly frantic, but the idea of, you know, how are you trying to place things out? You know, all those tiles within that time and trying to master it, because you know you can never get a mastered layout. I don't know. Well, at least I can't get a mastered layout. You know, but I think it's cool, you know, the way the monsters come out, and you know, hoping and praying, when is that monster going to come out? Can I use this monster to get rid of this other monster? But yeah, it's a great game. And then the last 2 games are smaller deck builders that I've actually played with my wife just to kind of compare them. I was in the process of figuring out, you know, which one's going to stay in the collection and which one's going to go. And that was Star Realms and Shards of Infinity.
Oh, I love those games.
Which in my house, we started off with Star Realms, and it was one of those games that, you know, the space theme wasn't one I thought that would catch my wife's eye when we first got it, but she fell in love with the game. I think she's mastered the game. Awesome. And to be able to beat her, I had to buy all the expansions, so she hadn't. What's great about that game? Yeah, well, I think what I love about that game is even if you don't have a copy of it, you can actually, you know, get the app, and it's a cheap app, and you can buy the expansions as you go, and you're going to pretty much get the same experience, and it's very well done. You know, and that's kind of a great segue into like trying to figure out, do I want to purchase this one? And then Shards of Infinity, I do like it great as just a head-on, you know, a combat, you know, dueling game, but I like it because I think it works better when it comes to multiplayer than Star Realms does in its multiplayer. So ultimately, I was trying to figure out which one was going to leave the collection, and we decided that they're both going to stay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And you know, obviously, when I can't get to gaming with you know, my wife or whatnot, I go on Board Game Arena, and the one game that I love to play, I'm a huge worker placement fan, but sometimes I want to get a worker placement in a quick time, and it's been Targi, which is awesome. Two-player worker placement game. Yes, I love that game.
So
I
good.
want the expansions on BGA soon. But
I haven't. I still have not played the expansion yet.
Neither.
It's good.
On my shelf, I haven't.
Yeah, it's good. If you like Targi, I highly recommend playing with the expansion. It adds another layer of good stuff.
Listen, Ruel, you can't be giving me all these games. Like I already have a list of stuff that I've got to buy. I've got a list of games on the shelf that I haven't even played yet. Come on, what are you doing?
Oh, I know. Every time we show up here, like I've got a list going. It's like it's not good for my bank account. But you know what? We're amongst friends here, so it's all good.
Exactly.
So, Jazz, have you played Hero Realms then? If you like Star Realms.
I have played Hero Realms. For me, I think the fantasy theme wasn't one that like just really caught me. I just preferred the space theme. I think it was also for the fact that like around the time the game came out is actually when I started getting into like Star Wars. I was like, huge. I wasn't one of the early kids growing up in Star Wars. It was one of those things. I was a late bloomer, and it was like, but yeah. So I think that space theme is one that really catches me as well.
Cool.
But yeah, I hear Hero Realms is great. I have played it, but it's just a preference. I think whatever you choose, just pick one or the other.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, so
I was going to say, I think like base games, I think Hero Realms has an advantage. It's got a little more going on than base Star Realms. But once you start adding some of the expansion Star Realms, it's just as good as Hero Realms, I'm thinking. I'm the same way, Jazz. I prefer space over fantasy theme. So
yeah.
Hey, real quick, Potion Explosion. Was it the first time your family was playing it? Or was that the first time playing the game?
I went through my BG stats, and I think this was the third time we did it as everybody together.
Okay.
Well, my wife and I have obviously played it the most. But it's funny because I'm going through their stats and I looked at my stats and I have 0 wins, like legit.
I think that's usually.
I think I was joking. I was joking with my wife. I said, I have to have you on the channel because, like, I think I need to come up with a new series that's pretty much entitled like "How to Beat My Wife" because, like, I teach the games, she wins. I don't understand it.
I love
You're
it.
a good teacher. You're a good teacher.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess so.
Yeah.
You need to now play with the expansion with the ghost.
Oh yeah, the ghost ingredient. Yeah.
Yes, it's so much fun, and the different professor powers. It adds a lot to it. Yeah.
That's not on BGA, right?
No, but it's in the app.
Yeah.
The app actually has it.
It's the expansion is like modular, right? There's certain things you can add. Like I think some of them sort of fall flat, but then some of them, like the ghost ingredient, it's neat. I was just asking if they'd ever played Jazz because that game for me when we could get together in person was like the ultimate like in table presence. I mean, people see that thing on the table, all the Mars, like, oh my gosh, what's that? They totally want to play it. So I love it as a gateway game.
I haven't played it before, but I have played Gizmos, and I always kind of wondered how the two compare.
No. Like this was definitely engine building. Potion Explosion has a little bit of engine building, but it's not as much as Gizmos. Gizmos is like you can be waiting 5 minutes for them to finish their turn. But no, Potion Explosion is not like that because as soon as you fill the 2 potions, you can't really go further.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're both on the same weight scale, and I love both of them, but they're two different games.
Animals. Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me that was one thing. I think I went to PAX Unplugged, and I think it was the year that that Gizmos had come out, and I was like, "Do I get this? Do I not?" I kind of held off, and I don't think I had Potion Explosion at the time, but I did play it. I think I was holding off for that the cool plastic dispenser. When I eventually got the plastic dispenser, and I think it also like a ridiculously good trade. But I think, like I said, I think it's one of those that you can have in the collection, and they're separate. They're separate enough. They're different enough. The only similarity is marbles, and it's similar to like another game that I'm waiting to come in back from Pentry Games, which is On the Rocks, which again is a lot of people look at it and say, it's a more like an adult theme, beverage making game for Potion Explosion, but it's really not. It has this Mancala mechanic that really takes the game and makes it completely different. But yeah, I would definitely say all 3 of those games are definitely ones that you can have in the collection, and they're quick enough, streamlined enough to get to the table with anyone.
Mm-hmm. I just added On the Rocks to my list. Thanks, Jazz.
I know. That's what I'm thinking too.
I would disagree with one thing in the sense. I think Potion Explosion is a little easier than Gizmos. I don't know if I would consider them the weight. I would say Gizmos is like one step up. It's a little bit harder to teach, I think, because it has a few more things going on.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I can see, because understanding the different machines and how those machines work. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Gizmos definitely falls under Tim's and then.
Awesome. So I think I'm picking next. I'm going to shoot it down to the bottom middle. Let's go with Oscar.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Oscar, real quick, I'm sorry, before you go, I just want to make
Yeah,
a announcement to anybody, in case you happen to be watching us on Board Game Geek. I'm sorry, I should have put this up earlier, but I have a little thing scrolling on the bottom. If you'd like to be involved in the chat, go to twitch.com/Meepleville. We got about 120 people over there, something like that. So if you'd like to join in the chat, make some new friends and talk over there, please head over there and you can join the chat. Okay, I'll keep that running for a little bit. Sorry, Oscar, go ahead.
No, don't worry. What have I played? Well, now I have a guinea pig, so I have been able to play some games. I played Calico and Santorini because I found Santorini like what would be for you $10 instead of 30 that I think is the usual MSRP. So I got both, and that's mostly what I have been playing. Calico and Santorini.
Oh, you can't go wrong with those.
Yeah,
Calico's
those are
so
great.
good.
Yeah, but in the Mexican groups, in the WhatsApp groups, Facebook and etc. There was a lot of kind of hate, like Monopoly kind of hate, because no, Santorini, everybody wants it because it's cheap, but it's not good. But actually, it is
So
good.
good.
I didn't
Yeah,
play
love
it.
it.
I played
I
in
love it.
Burger Marina, but besides that, I didn't play it physically. And it's great. It has this 3D base, and you have different powers. You have different options to play. You can go 2, 3, 4 players in teams. So it's really cool. And Calico, well, it's just a very good choice at the end because it's like a neuro solitary, but I'm teaching somebody new to do something with what they have. And I'm trying not to force myself to win. It's like, oh, you can do this or you can do that. Remember that you are grabbing this and you are trying to get the kitties and you are trying to make patterns. So it has been really cool to be teaching someone that is not from this environment.
Mhm.
So I have my new guinea pig.
I would agree, Oscar, because the Calico, I just got to the table too. I was a little late to get that to the table. And Calico's fantastic. I can see why it got so much heat and so much press in the past year, because it really is a good, easily accessible game for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I was surprised how much that game made my brain hurt. It was like
Oh,
way
yeah.
easier than I thought, right?
It hurts my
Yeah.
brain. So
Yeah.
Well, but it's a diminishing hurt though, right? Because
Yes.
because in the beginning, your brain is hurting because you have a lot of open spaces and a lot of options. But as the spaces close up, you kind of run out of options.
Yeah.
Unless you
it's
like how much you want to push your luck and leave that one spot open, hoping to get that perfect tile, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah.
Yeah, but I love that it's, as you say, it's really simple. It's grab, put, but then you think, okay, I want to connect the colors. I want to get the patterns for the kitties. I need to get the tiles for the objectives. It's like, oh my god! And if I put this, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
remember that
it's on Tabletopia, and there's like a free solo version that people can play via our website. So it's very accessible right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, Calico's amazing. Like you said, always you're sitting there waiting for that one perfect tile to come out, and it's like you don't get it. And he's like, "Oh, my whole plan's been foiled. Like I had everything set up to make this chain of events and everything, and that one tile could be the it just
Or if
doesn't."
someone
No.
hate drafts it, someone denial drafts it and takes it from you.
Yes.
And then if you're playing with someone that knows what is going on, because I also played in Tabletopia with some friends, if they know what they're doing, they can be like they are grabbing the things that you are going to need and use them. So they're planning ahead like 5 steps, and I'm like, wait, wait, I'm new on this.
Yeah, but Oscar even mentioned Santorini. I picked it up dirt cheap as well. I think it was like $12. I think when it went on like a Amazon blowout sale, and it was one of those that I didn't consider getting to my collection, and I picked it up just because I was working on like trying to figure out what are my top 2-player games, because I love 2-player games, and it really surprised me. I know there was a lot of buzz around it, and it made me thinking. Now I think I want to get the Santorini New York version.
I was just gonna bring that one up to see if anybody had played Santorini New York yet.
Is it
No,
out yet?
Not yet.
I've heard that it's out, but I really don't know if there's what's the difference. Is it just the themed in New York as opposed to being in Greece? So I'm really not too sure. But all I know is it looks good. I was a born native New Yorker, so I think I just gotta have it in the collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a video and it's different, but I don't remember how much different it is.
Okay.
I think it kind of where regular Santorini, you mostly play it as a 2-player game, and I think a lot of people agree that it works best as a 2-player game. I think the new version opens up some things and makes it like awesome for more players.
Okay.
And I forget exactly what it was, but I remember thinking like, oh, cool, like I could do Santorini with like more people like really well. It had some cool stuff. So there are enough differences that I believe that it would be worth it to have both in your collection. And it's been one that I've been wanting to pick up at some point because it sounded interesting when I saw a demo of it.
Yeah, I'm wondering, does it still keep like the whole like Greek gods and stuff, or does like what's happening in New York? Does like Zeus just show up in New York? Or
I'm curious about that myself.
Ninja Turtles.
The Big Apple.
Are the guys
Yeah.
like mobsters in New York
or a bunch of
something?
a bunch of the Yankees or Knicks or something? I don't know.
It would have to be the Yankees because the Knicks haven't been doing anything, Ruel. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't make me feel the pain.
Is it as beautiful though? Is the
Yes.
New York version as okay? It's as beautiful.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Now I have to
Okay.
check it out again. But yeah, it looked really cool. I was excited. I think this was back at, I don't know, one of the online conventions, maybe Gen Con or something. I saw a demo of it and I was like, wow, this looks dope. So, but I don't remember all the details. So we'll have to all just put it on our list.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, but Santorini did went into that like sellout, but it was because from one moment an explosion, Walmart here, yes, Walmart started bringing Spin Games is the brand, Spin Master Games
Spin
like
Master.
5 Minute Marvel, Santorini. I also saw Catan, I saw King of Tokyo, and from one day to another, it was like, okay, this is the cheapest game and everybody was asking for it, and then I was like, okay, let me see if I found one. I found two, and I was planning on giving away one, but then a friend say, okay, I went to this store and I didn't find it, and I was okay, I have a second one. If you want, I can sell it at the price I got it. It was okay, I got it. Let me go for it.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. But let me see. We have still pending Dwayne and Amanda. So Amanda, what have you played?
Well, I have Calico right there. No, but I played Commuters with a bunch of people over there, and one of the hot games right now as well. A quick dice pool building racing game, which is a lot of fun. It has a lot of variability because each of the different dice has different powers that you can have and change up every game. And yeah, so I just played it with Eric Yoko, and that last turn was just like crazy, like flip the head. Yeah, it's fun. It literally feels like a racing game. It's a lot of fun.
Amanda,
And
did
then-
you like it? Sorry, did you like it better than Quacks of Quedlinburg? Because I haven't played it yet, but I've heard a lot of people compare it to Quacks.
Yeah, me too.
I don't. Okay, for me, Quacks is a push your luck, but it's not a racing game for me. And it's more solitary. While Cubitos, you do push your luck in that you could bust your dice, but if I can still play conservatively and still move forward, and it does feel like a racing game. Like, oh, if you're behind, you get more dice, but it's like, oh, do I want to go take a little detour to get this cool spot over here, or do I want to just go straight and across? And there's 4 different boards, so some boards have like where you can jump and teleport, and some boards have like where you can swim and stuff like that. So it's I feel like it's not like that at all, although it does have a little bit of the feel of Camel Cup or Camel Up.
Okay,
where where but you don't have the betting aspect. It's a little bit chaotic because of the dice, but because you buy more powerful dice, you can kind of mitigate that, and each dice has their own power, so you're kind of thinking, oh, which power will work best? Do you want the smelly cat or do you want the dog? So so it's a lot of fun. I feel like it's different enough that you can have like Camel Cup and this and Cubitos, and it's definitely not like quacks as much for me. Anyways.
Cool.
Amanda, you can't do that. My list is just growing.
I'm having the notes, and it's just never ending.
It's so quick though. The game is so quick. You can hit, if both people know how to play, 30 minutes, you're done. It's a lot of fun, and then you'll play it again. So it's great. And then my other game is also right there, Unmatched. So I played Hood versus Hood with Russ for Chits and Giggles. We played Robin Hood versus Little Red Riding Hood. And that was also like, it was down to the wire, like down. We were like 2 health and 3 health, and then it was like 1 card difference. It was crazy. So that was a lot of fun. Now that I played it correctly.
You play, Amanda? Which character did you play?
I played Little Red Riding Hood. So I was, you had to smash talk, like, big bad Robin Hood's like beating up on the little girl and stuff, you have to smash talk. But I also had the huntsman because you have, side characters. So my huntsman was like trying to get him, but he kept on running away. It was hilarious because Robin Hood and his merry men just kept on scattering after every turn. I'm like, you just keep on running away from a little girl with her basket. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think I haven't played all the characters in Unmatched, but I think Red Riding Hood is probably my favorite. I love that mechanism of like whatever's in your discard pile. If you match that with the card you play, you get like an additional ability. Yeah, I think that's so neat.
Yeah, and every character has something slightly different, which is awesome.
Yeah,
and the mix and match is hilarious, is wonderful. Yeah. Yep. And then I think Candice was talking about, like how to know like the range and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The way the Unmatched series does it is so well. It's just colored circles, and if you're in the same color, then you're within range for a ranged attack. Okay. Or if you're right next door, like if the circles are connected by a black line, you're adjacent. So it's very, very easy. And some circles has 3 colors, some circles has 2, and it's very, very easy right away. You know whether or not you're in range. You know whether or not you're going to get hit or not. So I think that the whole the system is very, very easy and accessible. But finding the nuance of each character and how to play it well is what's going to make you want to replay again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's well said. That's totally what that game is. Just finding those nuances within each character. Because like Amanda was saying, it's such a neat way to do like a skirmish game. Like you don't have everything is just real. It's laid out there. It's just card driven. It's really simple, but it's a fun tactical game. I've got I think 3 or 4 sets, and I love them all. They're just so fun.
Now, Ruel, quick question. I've been interested in it, but I picked up the like the Funko Pop, little skirmish little game that they have. How do those two compare? Because early, I think, people were saying that there is kind of like a little bit of a comparison between those two, but honestly, I haven't even played my Funko Pop one, my Funkoverse.
I played both.
Yeah, that's a great question. I was just going to say, let's pass it over to Amanda because I know she's played both. I have not played the Funko Pop one yet. I did play. Sorry, before I pass it over to Amanda, real quick, I did play the new the one by Simon. It was the Teen Titans animated
Mayhem.
Yeah, Mayhem. That is really good. I was very surprised at that. I think I can't rank them yet, but that one was just solid. I felt like it was a little more gamery. So the games went a little longer, but they're still pretty like within a half-hour play or so. But that one's definitely one to add to your list, Jazz. Since I know you have plenty of money to room over there. But yeah, Amanda, how did you find Funko Pop versus Unmatched?
I feel they are different. Like Unmatched is a skirmish 1v1. It's very much like you have a hand of cards, but you can only use certain cards for certain characters. So like you can't use the Huntsman's cards for Little Red Riding Hood, and you can't use Little Red Riding Hoods on the Huntsman. It's very much also like a hand management on what cards, because only when you maneuver can you draw a card. So like I was getting down to where I only had 1 card, because you can defend against an attack, but then you're leaving yourself open again because your hand is gone. While Funko is more of like a tag team, like because you're doing two different characters and you're doing one character at a time. So you can play it where it's 2v2, or you can play 1v1, but we're playing two different characters you're doing two different characters. So this one is more like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna try to have this character over here so that it can help the other character when it's on their turn, and they have a cool cooldown mechanism that if you use an ability, you can't use it for a little while, and then it cools down, and then you can reuse it. If you get knocked out, you just come back. They just get points. They have Funko has where you can do capture the flag or knock out your opponents, or there's like 3 different types of scenarios, while Unmatched is basically you just want to kill your other, knock him out, kill him, take down the hit points. So it's a totally different feeling. And while I like both, the Funko Pops are incredible. Like I played the Kool-Aid Man and Rose from the Golden Girls against, like Harry Potter and someone else. It's like crazy. It's two different feelings. Like one is more, dark and gritty. Like Little Red Riding Hood has like the skin of the wolf on her and stuff like that. And, while Funko is just like kind of lighter. But you still like kind of pew pew. I'm gonna hit you, and then I'm gonna run out. But you can also do crazy things like the Kool-Aid Man literally can knock out walls, and then you put a little token showing the wall is broken. So I think you can have both in your collection. Exactly. Exactly. So I think it depends on how you want to feel, because Funko doesn't feel like you're attacking as much, but Unmatched is definitely, you're definitely going to knock the other person out. You're definitely going for them, type of feel. So,
all right, more to the list.
Yep. And then Dwayne.
Hello. So, after me and my wife played Lost Ruins of Arnak, she wanted to check out something lighter. So I decided we received Rome from Ryan Lockett, and did a video on that. And we played a few times, and at first she wasn't feeling it because it's her first introduction to area control. And of course, the second time we played it, I started doing a little cash talking, and that brought the fun into it. We really enjoyed that. I think that I love Ryan Lockett. I'm looking forward to Sleeping Guys. I just got the delivery confirmation, so I'm like really happy for that. My board game group, we played Praga. I think Praga. What is it? I forgot.
Yeah.
But
we all know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Like Vladimir Suchi, yeah.
And I really enjoyed that game. I after playing it, I called my board game store. Hey, you still got that one copy? Yeah, put it up for me. I'll be there soon. Because I was a little like afraid of it, because I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game. But I really it was simple to get there. It's just a lot of scoring opportunities in that game. So you just have to pay attention to a lot of things. And as I'm playing, I kept thinking of Tim, and then. So we played that, and then I played the Grand Carnival. Yeah, it was Z Garcia put it on his like top 20 list. I think it was his number 1. And I was interested in it. And I was looking around, couldn't find it. And then I had to go to my guy and said, hey, where can I get this game? And he was like, you have to order it directly from the publisher.
Everybody,
okay.
I love it.
Oh my God. Dealer.
Don't worry, Dwayne. I did the same thing. I ordered my copy. It's over here somewhere.
Yeah, now it's good. I really enjoy it, and that's going to be our next review. We're going to put that review up. I got her playing it. We're going to play it a couple more times. And I think Well, I played Bonfire. I played a couple more games of Bonfire, and I like Bonfire. I do. The theme is not there. It's not really incorporated, but I still love
that's the Stefan Feld game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no wonder. Okay. I love Feld games. Don't get me wrong, but yeah,
yeah.
And that deluxe TMG one they did a Bonfire looks beautiful on the table.
Okay, cool.
Like absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I like playing with the little baby Yodas. That's the cool part. So that's what I've been playing. And
did you
we
mention
go over
Baby Yoda?
to Kim.
Baby Yoda.
Wow. It's a Yoda plushie, yeah. Well, I have the only play I played recently with Calico, like we said, Oscar brought up. And the other one is really Council of Miracles. I don't know if everybody's heard of that one.
Oh, yes.
Court of Miracles?
Court of Miracles.
Court of Miracles?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Court of Miracles.
Yeah. How'd you like it, Tim?
Well, you know, the funny thing about it, again, you know, I'm a theme, not a theme guy, just a play guy. And when he brought out the pieces, when he's setting it up, he's like, hey, do you want to be the rats, the dogs, chickens, or whatever? And after playing the game, it like made zero difference. Like, I don't like, so yeah, it was just weird because I'm thinking, why did I get this thing? And it had nothing to do with the game. So
which were you, the chickens?
No, I was the dogs. But they don't have asymmetric powers. They don't do anything, right? They're just there. It's really weird. Yeah. So that's about it. So now I want to get into some news. So I know Ruel and Amanda. So you guys got a couple of announcements to make, right? So let's Amanda, we'll start with you. What do you have to say?
Oh, let's start with Ruel.
I think because my news leads to Amanda's news. So I mentioned at the top of the show here that the brothers Murph and I started this thing back in November called the Tabletop Live Network. And what this is a one-day event where a bunch of us Twitch streamers get together. And if you know Twitch, you know that when one channel finishes their stream, they can raid another channel, which is basically taking their audience to another channel so they get increase their audience size. So the brothers Murph and I, we really wanted to do an event where we highlight streamers that we like and enjoy, and we want to build the community over here on Twitch for board gamers because, you know, there's a lot of people that stream board games, but it's really like the discovery on Twitch isn't that great. It's tough to find each other there. So we said, hey, why don't we just put together this event once a month and get streamers to raid each other? So we have a schedule and we raid each other. So back in November, we started with 6 channels. That was for 12 hours. We do 2 hours each. So it was a 12 hours straight. New Year's Eve, we did 9 streamers for 18 hours straight. And now we've got an event coming up Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next on January 30th, where we have 12 different channels. We're streaming back to back to back for 24 hours straight.
Wow.
And
Nice.
awesome. We've got streamers representing from the US, East and West Coast. We've got the streamers in Australia, the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany. It's truly an international event. We're so happy to be part of it. And so that's January 30th. We do plan on doing this once a month. And I was actually just before we came on here, I was talking to Nick and Mike. We had a little meeting and like talk about future plans. And we are pumped. We think this thing has a really great chance of taking off here on Twitch. And yeah, so January 30th, friends, starting at 12 noon. It's going to go 24 hours straight until January 31st. And it's here on Twitch. I think we're going to start with Loozapalooza, David Ilka, their channel. This is going to start it. And we're going to do 24 hours straight. And now
probably 48 hours.
Yeah, right. 48 hours. Why not? But it's a really neat way to build community. And, you know, again, we all play different games. We're all different. And we're very big on, like, the mission was when Nick and I and Mike talked about this thing. Our mission was not only to grow the board game Twitch community, but also, like, you know, representation matters. So we really wanted a diverse, inclusive, you know, media representation out there. So we have, you know, women, people of color, and all kinds of great people from all around the world. We're so excited to be part of this. And this leads us to Amanda's news, because after January 30th, we go to, to you, Amanda.
Yeah, so we have, I had an idea because I was looking at the calendar. Valentine's Day is coming up. why don't we do a Galentine's special edition Galentine's version of Tabletop Live Network? So on February 14th, we are going to do a streamathon with all female presenting or non-binary Twitch board game streamers. And it's also going to start with Loozapalooza. Ilka is actually going to be streaming solo, and that's starting at 6 a.m. Pacific on February 14th. And then it goes through 10 different female presenting non-binary streamers. And it's just, it's not about being single. It's just about celebrating women in board game. And so that's going to be, that's going to be start so that we can, get more eyeballs on the female Twitch streamers.
That's a great idea, Amanda.
That's awesome.
So we're going to hopefully grow that as well and continue and doing that on different days besides just Valentine's Day. So.
Fantastic. Well, anybody watching, just make sure, please go check out Amanda or Ruel. You can probably get more information on their Twitch channels or website and all that kind of stuff. And make sure you go to the 24-hour thing, and you also go to the thing on Valentine's in February also. Very good. Well, real quick, guys. So, man, the time's been flying by. It goes by so quickly. So one of the topics I'd like to talk about, because we still have our top 3 coming up, so this will spend a little bit of time, and I'll keep you guys in chat updated. But I wanted to talk a little bit about us, for us and for the audience. And again, a lot of things we want to discuss is diversity, right? Bringing diversity to the table, but diversity is applied to a lot of things, and one of the things that diversity can be applied to is learning and teaching. So I'd like somebody to start. Maybe I'll pick Jazz. So as far as when it comes to learning, how do you like to learn? And then how do you apply that to teaching a game? And again, everybody, let's just be kind of quick, and we'll pass it along to everybody so we can get everybody in here, okay?
I think for me, the best way that I learn is reading the rule books. But honestly, the way that I would like to learn better would be watching like Rodney's playthroughs on Watch It Played. I know John Gets Games has some really nice playthroughs, as well as Monique and Naveen over at Before You Play. There's a couple of other ones, but those are the 3, and I think probably Slicker Drips are the ones, the YouTube channels that I really go to when it comes to hey, I want to just get a quick playthrough of how this game works. But afterwards, especially if I'm playing a heavier game, I definitely want to go watch a quick playthrough, but then definitely read that rule book. And I always have that rule book kind of side by side as I'm playing through, just to kind of reference. But that's how I learn specifically, because I'm the one who's normally teaching the games to my family and friends. So what I do with that is when I'm ready to teach that game, I have that rule book there so they can kind of reference it. But when I'm teaching it, primarily what I look to do is, the first thing to do is let them know what the win condition is, whether they need a certain amount of victory points, or what is it that pretty much sets off that win condition. And once they have an idea of that, it kind of plays in letting them know what the theme is, what they're going to do to acquire that. So how are they going to get those coins to get the most money, or get those victory points? So that's where I'm trying to lead them towards. And then I would give them just a really quick brief overview of an example first turn. So I can kind of talk them through that first turn and say, on an opening turn, I probably would do this, just because it'll kind of set you up for, I'm a big worker placement fan, so that's why I use that example, is like gaining resources. And then from there, I kind of let them say, okay, I have these resources. Now, what do these resources allow me to do? So they have them, and they can say, all right, I have this specific card. It requires these resources to put out or build. And then from there, I just let them kind of start, figuring out on their own, and just let them ask me questions as they go. And honestly, they obviously beat me all the time, so I guess I'm teaching right. I don't know. So, yeah, that's for me. I think it's knowing what how to win the game, and then the small things to get me to the game. Because if I've tried it, trying to give a lengthy description of how the game's played, and then like 5 minutes into it, everybody's just like looking at their phone. Yep. So I learned you got to just be very short and kind of, in a way, do kind of learn as you go, but give them enough to say, hey, okay, let me do my first turn and get a feel for it. So what about Candice? Candice plays a heavier game. So how do you, and I want to start getting into heavier games, which I have, but how do you learn and teach? Because that's sometimes some of them are over my head right now.
Right. So really similar to you, I love to read the rule book, and I will also sometimes look towards videos to kind of see how things work. And even I feel like when playing heavier games, if someone teaches it to me, I'm always like, I'm not trying to win this game. I'm just gonna get familiar with the actions, the mechanics and everything. But then I go home and I read the book, and then it really starts to click in. Like I'm kind of a slow learner like that. So like if I know I'm playing something in advance, I'm going to try to study up before I even show up, even if somebody's teaching me. So it's a combination of reading the rule book, maybe watch a video. You know, there are other times where sometimes I just only have time to just watch a video to jump in, but never when I'm teaching. If I'm teaching, I'm going to like read the rule book and make sure I have everything down. And then similarly, when I'm teaching, everybody learns differently. So it's like, number one, kind of like being aware of your audience, but like keeping them engaged throughout the teach, you know, by doing examples. And I try to say like, oh, let's say, you know, Jimmy Bob does this and, you know, does this, but then Susie does that, you know. So I think you do have to kind of gauge your teach towards your audience, because everybody learns differently. But one of the main things I like to do, because it helps me if I'm being taught, is number one, like you were saying, Jazz, like, you know, make sure everybody understands how, you know, overall what the victory condition is, like how do you win, give them some pointers as to like how they can get points if it's a victory point kind of thing. And then also I like to break down the game where I go high level overview. The game has 10 rounds. Each round we do 4 phases. Each phase you're going to do this and that. Then you drill down deeper and deeper, because I've had people kind of teach where they just kind of just start getting into it. And I'm like, I don't understand the flow, the overall flow of the game. So I think it's important to make sure people understand the high level flow of the game, like what we're going to be doing, what the rounds feel like, and then go into details. Like these are all the actions and how they work. But yeah, I think you just have to keep people engaged so they're not looking at the phones and getting bored. Dwayne, how about you? How do you learn and teach?
Well, I make sure that I try to know everything. You know, I read the rules. One of those type. I try to like make sure I take care. It's everything you guys said. Like I watch videos. Just try to make sure I know all the nuances of the game before I try to teach. And like I think the heaviest game I've taught a 4-player of Teotihuacan, which I was amazed that I actually pulled that off. You know? But yeah, when I teach my wife a game, as we're going over the rounds and I see her looking at the board, and I start like giving her options. Like, so here are the options that are stand out to you. So you could do this, but this is another way, you know, because sometimes some people look and they focus like right ahead. And I'm like, okay, you got this over here. You could do this. You could do this. And I'm just trying to let you know what your options are, you know, and like I say, also give them an overview. Like, this is what you're trying to do, you know, this is how you score points. Make sure they know how they score points. Like if it's it's several ways. Some games you get the most money. That's how you get those points. But I try to tell you can score points from here. You can score points from this. You score points from this. And like I say, and the teach is not all about winning. It's all about making sure they understand how the game is played. You know, because when it's taught to me, you know, I don't mind losing as long as I understand the game.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times after I play the game, I'll go home and I'll pull it up on YouTube and I'll check.
Make sure.
Yep. I think I see where I messed up at, you know, or whatever. So that's pretty much how I teach.
Can I jump back?
Yes.
For 1 second. I was going to say also the other thing I do, Jazz, which I completely, and everyone, I completely forgot to mention, is I will bust the game out. I will set it up and I will like run a few turns or play it solo if it has a solo mode to learn it, to like really, especially like heavier games and some of the GMT, like the coin games. I will literally go through the whole playbook turn by turn and see, you know, anytime there's a solo mode, I love to, because I love setting up games and just, So anyway, I think that's another way that I forgot to mention. Okay.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I kind of do it Rado style sometimes. If it doesn't have a solo mode, I do it Rado style, and
Yeah.
like just so I can understand. Okay, I get that. I know how to do this, and then when I teach it, you know, I'm able to like touch on everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
going over to Amanda.
Yeah, I just want to say I agree. If it's a hard game, I want to play it solo before I teach it to someone. But the way I learn it is by someone else teaching it. So in the chat, Ben Osteen is in the chat, and he is the person I usually learn games from. And I love him, Ruel. You know, I have so many people in my life that teach games well, so I'm very lucky. And that's the best way is for me to get someone to teach me and for me to be able to touch the pieces. Like if someone's saying, "Oh, this is the piece," and I can't like touch it and put it on the board, or you know, like it's not in front of me, then it's hard for me to connect that this cube means wheat or something like that, right? An abstract thing means something else. So during the pandemic, what I've been doing is watching videos and then being on Tabletopia. If the game's there, then I can move pieces and say, okay, so this piece equals that, this name equals that. So yeah, but teaching, I agree with everyone that it depends on who you're teaching. Like if it's me and my friend Ruby, we learn a lot of new games. So I'm constantly just reading the rule book out loud or going through the rule book step by step. But I do feel that if you know the game well, you will teach it better. So if you've already played a game before, if you've already been taught the game before, then you will be able to teach it a lot better. And how good you teach tells you how good you know the game. So like for instance, what was it on Mars? I was like, can I teach the game after the second turn? After the second game of playing it, because
Second turn.
that no, not the second turn, but the second time after the second time I played it, I was like, I want to teach it so that it cements in my brain how it played. And it wasn't until the fifth game that we got all the rules right. So it's a hard game. But yeah, so don't be afraid to get the rules wrong. You know, one other tip is to teach throughout the game. So like if someone's thinking and they're kind of have a confused look, say these are your options. Don't tell them what to do, but say these are your options. This is what the end game scoring condition. So they can see, oh, this option goes more towards this way or that way, and it'll help them decide better. But yeah, so let's go with Beneeta.
So I'm definitely someone who likes to learn their games by watching a video. And like Jazz mentioned, like everyone I watch, like Monique and like Rodney and like John Gets Games, like they're all like really great. But after I watch the video, I will look at the rule book and like kind of skim it to make sure that like little things, like I didn't miss little things and things. And then when I'm teaching, I definitely like, I try to teach it like fast, because like after the 5-minute mark, people will tune out. They will not pay attention to you. So I find it a little frustrating teaching games, which ultimately I'm almost always teaching games, because like I get the whole, oh, like we'll learn as you go. But then I get the whole, you didn't tell me that. Like you didn't tell me Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Like, I didn't know I was going to get points for not doing them. I'm like, well, if we had just listened to me from the beginning. I have definitely gotten better over the years at rules teaching. So I'll try to, like, give, like, the main, like, bullet points of the game, and, like, the itty-bitty rules. I'll try to, like, tell them as we go on. And I definitely am not, like, competitive when you're first playing someone new. So I'll be like, hey, so these are your options. Or if I see them doing like not a great move, I'll be like nice about it. Be like, you know, like maybe you should do A, B, or C instead. And then I also like talk about every single move that I do, so like they can understand like what my thinking is of the game. Be like, okay, I'm gonna place my meatball here so I can get this and this and this. Like, so I'm very like vocal about like what I'm doing, which I found that it helps, because then like in their head they're thinking like, okay, these are like the possible options that are like available.
Yep.
And you know what's funny, Beneeta, is when you said that about like, you know, you say like people ask you a question, you know, you've said a dozen times. When I used to demo a lot, like at conventions and stuff, and I used to train the demo people, I used to tell them, number one thing, every question is a great question. So even if that person asks you, like even if you just literally said something 2 seconds before and they ask you again, you look at them and you say, "Great question," and you just tell them and you move on. So,
Yep.
yeah.
This is great advice if it wasn't like my brother asking the same question.
Oh.
I
That one's excluded. Yeah.
I just like it because we usually play with our neighbors, like they've been our micro bubble, and they always somebody says it throughout the game, like, "Oh, I didn't know that worked that way," but then like the other two will be like, "No, she said it."
Yeah.
And then it's like they rotate, but someone always heard, and I'm like, okay, there, I'm not crazy.
So aggravating. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves in teaching games. Oh, you didn't tell me. I'm like, yes, I did. Who hasn't gone? Oscar, you haven't, right?
Yeah. Well, first I understood completely wrong the idea of this because I understood how we learn with games. So I was thinking on the afternoon, like, okay, what do plays show and tell because you can do things and you can do forms and you can teach this. And then now I'm like, man. but yeah, I usually do the same everybody does. I kind of run a group where we teach games. We used to hang out in the board game cafe comic shop, and well, now with board game arena and tabletopia, this have gone crazy. But we do well. Me, I try to learn first the rule book, then I try to search for videos, and then I do a playthrough by myself. I split, and I like, okay, Oscar left, you're doing this. Oscar right, you are green. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I play against myself. Sometimes it's hard because you have to know what the other guy has on their hands, so it's kind of a mess sometimes, but it works. And yeah, people usually lost track. So I try to, when I'm teaching, I try to go through the basics. Like, this is what we are going to do. We are trying to build. We're trying to get victory points for this, this, and this. And the turn goes like this and this and this. But I try to keep those some things out of the explanation at the beginning. Once we are into the game, there are things that I know will create confusion. So I'm like, it's great that you're doing this move because I left this out. They always say that you left this out because you were going to win with that, and you were going to trick us, and all that kind of stuff. But then I say, okay, now this can do this, this, and this. This is something I didn't explain because you already need to know what you're doing before I tell you that, because if not, you are going just to go crazy, like, what is he talking about? But I have other people that when they are teaching and they lost me because when I'm when I'm taught how to play a game, I usually just wander off. They are explaining because the people that talk me usually are people that start with, we are going to play brass. Brass is played in the 700th century, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh right, and I'm like, I'm more like when they're teaching me, I'm more like, okay, let's play, and then I can understand the game. Because with the story, they sometimes it's like half an hour of explanation on the story and how that correlates with the turns, and I'm off. But once we get to play, I'm like, okay, I know you said this, but can you remind me how this works? What this will grant me? How many points will this give me? Because and they know, so they they just go with it. They know I'm in my world when they explain it, but the other people are not. So, but yeah, so usually we have like these two ways of explaining, like this, and this, and like this.
Right. Yeah.
Let me see, Stefania, how do you teach and how do you learn the games?
Um, so I think for me, for learning, I think it was a combination of kind of what everyone said, but I like to learn at the beginning I just want a quick rundown of what like the main goal of the game is, and then I don't want to know all the rules because I just can't take them in. I can't just save them in my head, kind of thing. So I just kind of want to go little by little. I think that's why I end up asking a lot of questions through the game because I'd be like, wait, can I do this? Isn't that? And so instead of having it explained, I kind of want to experience it. And I don't mind if at the end they're like, you could have done this and that. And I'm like, oh no. But I kind of like that feeling because it makes me want to play again. Because it makes me have that progress of like, okay, the second time I'm going to play better. And then my third time, oh, this is when I'm getting it down. Like, I kind of like that progress. So at the beginning, I don't like to know all the rules. But I do find it funny when I play with people who do want to know all the rules and they just want to know every single aspect that they can do. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so much information. I can't handle it. So I think because of how I like to learn games that way, I kind of teach the same way. I like to teach where like I give you a general thing and then I kind of explain. I usually end up asking what do you want to know? Do you want to know everything or do you want to know some of it? Because I think it's important because everyone's it's pretty different, I feel like it's really important to know when you're teaching how that person wants to be taught. And the only thing with learning too, as far as like rule books, I like to have the rule book near me. But I do find it easier for me when someone teaches me the game and I don't have to read all of it. But sometimes as they're talking, I'm like, okay, let me browse this. Okay, I think that makes sense. Like that kind of combination is really nice. I only end up doing videos when I'm like, I don't understand any of this. Like when I just can't process or we're like conflicting ideas. When I'm like, no, I think this means this. And we're like, nope. We're like, well, let's check the video. So the videos is like the rule giver of like final word. But yeah, I think that's how I feel. Just, general learning at first and then slowly progressing as more plays come in. Right. How about you, Ruel?
I'm pretty much the same as everyone else. When I'm learning the game, well, actually, what I really like to do is I learn the best by reading. So I'll read the rule book, but what I do is I like to start at the start and get a little bit of the flavor text and see the overall the overview of the game. Then I skip to the end. I go straight to the end and figure out, okay, what do I need to do to win? And then I go back and start, I set up the table, the board and stuff, and I do Rado style, Oscar left and Oscar right, but it's Ruel left and Ruel right. Turns, right? I take the turns and do the actions, and I make it a point to do different actions every turn, so I know what I'm doing, and and I'm doing it correctly, and it sort of helps me see like how things combo out and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to teaching the game, I also everyone's mentioned, you start to lose people's attention after like 5 minutes, which is totally true. So, I like to just have the game set up and just jump right into it. Hey, we're playing this, the overview, this is a sci-fi game, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to get so many victory points, or this is the win conditions. Here's what you can do on your turn. And a lot of times, at least here, when we do live streams, I'm primarily the guy that teaches the games to the family before we live stream. What I do when I'm learning the game, I'll take notes, like all the notes that I'm taking of like what games I want to buy. But what I do is I take notes as far like turn order and turn structure. So I create my own player aid. And I know that they're out there on BGG and I eventually usually print those out, but I like to make it because it reinforces what I'm doing in my mind. Like for me to actually write it out, it's like, oh, okay, so on my turn, I can do A, B, or C, and I've written it down. Then I'll share that with Michelle or Lauren. They'll have it, and like we have our little post-it like player aids and stuff. So yeah, that's and I do like watching the videos as well. It's just I think I learn the best when I'm reading the rules and have the game right there and like sort of like skipping around and writing notes and stuff like that. So I think it's really interesting to see how everyone, we all sort of have these different methods, but there's similar things as well as far as teaching and learning. What about you, Tim? How do you are a game master teacher at Meepleville?
Well, I do teach a lot of games. Whether I'm good at it or not, that's another story. But
you are good. I can say that because you taught me a game before.
Oh, well, thank you. The one thing I sort of disagree with everybody. Everybody sort of said the same thing about how it depends on who you're teaching. Because to me, I almost teach the same to everybody, and it's kind of like the way I like to learn. I'm one of those kind of people, like if I'm learning a game with my friends who are, say at the same level, who like the heavy Euros, whatever, I'm like, okay, great. Talk to me for 2 minutes. Just tell me what I can do on my turn. Kind of like what you said, Ruel. Just let me know what I could do. And I really like to emphasize the whole learning game the first time, but unfortunately, sometimes you play with people who just have to win, and they can't just do that, because I'm one of those kind of people. Oh, okay, well, here, I'm going to put my guy there. What happens if I go there on my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, great. Okay, whatever. And if I didn't learn it, my very next turn, I'll say, you know what? I'm going to go back there because I'm not quite sure I learned that spot, because I don't care if I win or lose. I want to learn the game.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so when it comes to teaching, I'm kind of the same way, where I teach everybody the same. I'm like, here's what you can do on your turn, because that's what people sometimes, where they lose you, they don't know what to do, and then they start to feel stupid, right? Because they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I just go, here's what you can do, because like Wingspan, we've all probably played Wingspan, right?
Yeah.
That's a perfect example. I like to tell people, look on your board. Because I even tell them, you're going to ask me after I tell you, well, I can explain the rules a little bit, but on your board, that's all you can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, period, end of story. That's all you can do. And I say, I guarantee you, I'm going to say, who's going to be the first one to ask me what they can do? It's going to be one of you. Right there. That's all you can do. And I think that helps people a lot when they just know, like, instead of getting stuck, what they can do. Because as far as learning, like, I played PAX Premier like my 5th time now, I think. And it wasn't until this last time I played where I said to myself a couple times, oh, I can't go there. Oh, I can't do that. That's when I realized I started to learn the game, when I realized what I couldn't do instead of what I could do. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, that's it. Yeah. So yeah, it was good. It's interesting to hear again the diversity of how so many people learn differently, teach differently. Just a lot of different aspects. So one of the other things we got, because is and again we have to be quick about these things, is I asked everybody to bring their top 3. Now the top 3 for this week are really interesting, because I wanted people to talk about the top 3 games that they actually love. So again, these are games you really, 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 really love, but find it really hard to get to the table. Now, for whatever that reason, it could be a bunch of different reasons, but what are the top 3 games you love that you just find it hard to get to the table? How about you, Amanda? Let's start with you.
Okay, so number 3, we'll start with the general category, is co-ops. But that's just because people like to be competitive with me. I don't know why. But my game is Pandemic, and it's like, I enjoy the game. I have the expansions. I have a couple of versions. I really like to play the game, but no one will play with me. I understand we are in a pandemic, so that yeah. But even in the before time, I couldn't get people to play with me. So that was my number 3. I'm like, I do enjoy co-ops. I just have to find the right people. My number 2 are it would be legacy games. So right now it's Clank Legacy. The pandemic has put 2 games of Clank Legacy on hold for me, and I very want to get back to it so I can put pandas everywhere on the boards and on the cards. My friend Oscar, who started one of the games with him, is like, oh, he's like, another panda on my board. I'm like, yeah. It's hard, legacy games is just so hard because, one, it's a pandemic, and 2, it's just really hard. I am doing Charterstone, at least, which we can do digitally. But yeah, so, and then my top game that I absolutely love, but it's hard to get to the table, is Mahjong, because it is a 4-player game, and only 4-player game. Which makes it hard too, is that you do need a square table. It's you can play it on a rectangular table, but you kind of really do need a square table. And most of the time, people who play Mahjong, that's all they're going to play. They're just going to play Mahjong like 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 times in a row, and that's it. So it doesn't really bode well for my my gaming group, that type of thing. But yeah, so Mahjong, I love to play it. I always play it, but just to get the 4 people together that all know how to play it and all know how to play the same version it's really hard.
I was just going to say, there's so many different rule sets out there, right? So many different regional rules and stuff. You know?
But not only that, Amanda, because I know like bridge is sort of like an old people's game. Is mahjong stereotypical?
Hey.
Gwen feels attacked.
Is mahjong an old ladies game? Is that kind of stereotyped as an old ladies game?
Not ladies. It's definitely an older generation, but it's a gambling game. So it's kind of like poker when it's the older generation that gambles and they're serious about it. This is like they will spend thousands of dollars, losing or gaining thousands of dollars during a night of mahjong. So to play it family friendly, where we're just playing with quarters or something like that, you do have to find the right people. So that's definitely an issue.
I saw the coolest video a while ago of like a professional mahjong table where like it goes up in the middle and everyone like pushes the mahjong tiles inside. And then it does whatever inside, and then you get your own like fresh tiles. That's so cool.
I've done that too.
Tiles to shuffle the deck.
Yeah,
but I love washing the tiles. It's just that sound is so iconic.
Like dominoes.
Just like dominoes, very tactile.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. Like $500 to $1,000 where you push everything in the middle, and it washes it for you, and then it zooms out a nicely laid out mahjong. It sets everything up for you. But my aunts and uncles do have that because they have mahjong nights every week, and they do gamble.
That's nice.
Yeah, but so that's my game, mahjong. Candice, what about you?
Oh, cool! I got picked. My number 3 is a game I've actually only played once, but I loved it. It's a big game, and that game is Mage Knight. Mage Knight, I loved it. I was like, before I got it, I kind of was obsessed with it, like I do with a lot of board games. And I watched, I think it was Ricky Royale's videos, and I just fell in love with the game even before I had it. Then I got it last year, 2019, for Christmas, and I spent pretty much the whole day playing it solo, and I just love it. And I've been wanting to do it, but I'm kind of intimidated by, like I'm gonna have to relearn a lot. So yeah, it just hasn't gone back to the table, and I feel like there's so many other things in line before it, but I really love it. My number 2 is 18xx. I got into 18xx last year. Jennifer Schlickburn, some of you know, introduced me to 18 Chesapeake, which was a new release that came out last year, and it's a great first introductory game of 18xx. It can be played in less than 4 hours, because I know a lot of people hear 18xx and you're like, oh, all day. But I tend to like the ones, there are a handful, probably more, that can be played in like that 3 or 4 hour time frame. And I feel like that they're really jiving with me, because I love the stock auction elements to it, and all the, everything is very strategic, and I don't know, I just really, really enjoy it. And of course, like when I got into it, I just wanted to play it more and more, but it's hard to get to the table because not everybody wants to spend that time to either learn it or to just invest the time in playing it. So that's my number 2.
Candice, have you played it online? Because there's a couple of websites that allow you to play it online.
Yes, 18xx.games is awesome. And that actually is how I've gotten a couple games in. I actually made some friends on Twitter when I first posted that I played 18xx, and they were like, oh, welcome. It's a very welcoming community, which I'm finding in the war game community too. People are just cool, you're into it. They're all very welcoming and want to show you stuff. And I felt like the same on the 18xx side. So I have played on 18xx.games, and it is awesome. I can play on my iPad. But still, it's a little bit of a commitment, time-wise, depending on which one you play and who you play with and how much AP people have. But yes, and that's a lot faster. And plus, the other thing is playing the physical board game. I ended up investing in some nice custom poker chips, and I want to hold them, and I like the tactile experience of games too. And you don't get that, but you get other benefits from playing online. But that was a great suggestion. Thank you. And then my number one, maybe you could guess this if you tuned in last week, but that is Twilight Imperium.
Yes.
I played it for the first time on the 1st of the year. And 2 months before that, I was just like, it was on my mind, and I was just excited to play it. Finally played it, excited to play it again. But obviously, like our first game was 12 hours, and you're not going to get people to just be like, yeah, let's do that every day. But I'm going to keep pushing for it.
Yeah.
I'm actually hoping to play next month because my birthday is next month. So I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do.
Use that birthday on it.
Yeah, so exactly. So yeah, TI4 is my jam, and has a special spot. Well, I think it's definitely top 10 for me.
Candice,
but yeah, I really like it.
Person ever, folks. She is the smartest person ever.
I think Candice, you need to pick Ruel. He'll just repeat TI.
I know. I'm going straight to Ruel.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be easier, obviously, if this whole pandemic thing wasn't happening. We can all get together at Strategicon or local conventions, and it's the total convention game, right? TI4.
Yep,
it's like
totally.
So good.
Dice Tower West, Ruel, that's a local con too.
Yes, Dice Tower West.
Mm-hmm.
That is
very local for me too.
Yeah.
So what are your 3, Ruel?
Oh, me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Twilight Imperium, University of Jolnar, blah, blah, blah.
I know, we can't think of anything else now, right?
So my first one, actually, it was something Amanda touched on is, legacy or campaign games, legacy games. I find even when before the pandemic hit, it was still tough because I think for me, at least in my regular gaming group, legacy games are great on paper, but then in reality, it's like, no one wants to play the same game over week after week after week. As much as I think it's a cool thing, it's like, there's, when you're hanging out with gamers, it's always like the latest hotness or something like that. And it was tough. Now, that being said, we were able to get a game in right before the pandemic hit. Finally finished our Clank Legacy campaign that Amanda was talking about. We finished it, and it was one of my favorite gaming experiences ever. That series of 10 or whatever games, and so that's one of those things that I wish I could get more of them to the table, but it's just not a reality. The other that's my number 3. The number 2 is Chaos of the Old World. This is an older game from Eric Lang, and it's an out-of-print game from Fantasy Flight Games. It was based on Warhammer 40K. They no longer have the license, so this game will never be reprinted. I think it's a fantastic game. It's similar to Blood Rage, but it's more asymmetrical. And I don't know why. I just can't get to the table. I think, again, it's the whole, it's not the latest hotness. I mean,
I'll play.
Okay,
I'll play with you.
Yes, thank you. I've got the expansion and everything.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things. I don't know if it's because it's not the latest hotness. It just doesn't hit the table enough for me. I've played it a few times, but I would like to play it more. And then the third one, and this is just one of those sort of like Mahjong. It's like an older game. Well, it's an ancient game. I love backgammon. But I can never get people to play backgammon because, for whatever reason, it's just not on, it's not the latest hotness. But Tim, you're a backgammon player, aren't you?
I am. And we have, am I here or am I lagging?
You're good.
No, you're here.
You're good.
Oh, yes, I am a backgammon player, and we actually have the Las Vegas Backgammon Club. They meet at Meepleville every Tuesday, and these guys are really into it. Some of them have boards that are $2,000 boards.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
And we have actually 2 players who are actually in the, I forgot which federation it is, but the Backgammon Hall of Fame. So yeah.
Oh, no way, really? Wow.
Cool.
Didn't even know that existed.
Neither did I. Right in my backyard.
It can be like a really high stakes gambling game, and remind me never to play at Meepleville. But yeah, it's so much fun. It's a racing game. It does have dice and stuff, but there are when you get the doubling cube involved, there's strategy as far as like when you're going to take or where you're going to drop, because you don't want to lose, all your money. But yeah, those are the three that I can never get to the table, but I would love to more.
It's also a great beach game.
Yes, totally.
I have
chill,
backgammon. Right? Yeah, no cards blowing away. You bring your little suitcase thing.
Checkers, yep, totally.
Nope, I'm never playing backgammon with Ruel again after he beat me like 5 times in a row.
But here's my love-hate with backgammon is the same thing I have with poker is because I hate that expression in the long run, right? Because the truth of the matter is with poker, I could sit at a table with the 8 best poker players in the world and I could literally beat them. And it's the same thing with backgammon. Like I beat Ray, one of the guys who's in the Hall of Fame. He was like backgammon player of the year, 4 years, whatever, this or that, blah, blah, blah. But I played a game with him and I beat him. And of course, I can beat him once, but if we play 100 games, he'll probably beat me 99 of the other games, right? And that's my love-hate with those kind of games is because you can really beat the best player in the world, because like if we're good at a board game, right? Like say TI4 or something. If you're excellent, you probably won't beat that player, right? Because there's not a lot of luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a small element of luck, with the dice, but there's ways to, you're going to set yourself up to make sure that doesn't come into play. But I was just thinking, Tim, that's really cool that you beat a Hall of Fame backgammon player. That's
Every time I see him, I let him know it too.
He loves that.
Okay, so those are my 3 games. I'm going to pass it on to, let's go right above me, Dwayne.
Okay. My number 3 game is Cryptid. I love Cryptid. I love the like trying to figure out information from different people, but like I said, it's a 3 to 5 player game, and it's just me and my wife. And like I really missed it because it's so like designed so well. There's so many different ways to set up the board. So I love Cryptid. I want to play it again. My number 2.
Real quick, Dwayne, I just wanted to say something about Cryptid. I've played Cryptid just once, and I unfortunately was that person who 45 minutes in the game ruined the game.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was that person.
Wow.
Because if you guys don't know the game Cryptid, you have to like read a book and you have to, answer yes or whatever it was. And I just gave the wrong clue or wrong information. And
that game can, so bad. If someone doesn't understand that clue and they might give the wrong answer, I mess it up for everybody.
That was me.
But I do love that game. My number 2 would be Root.
Yeah.
And I know they have the app. I have played the app, and the app is great. I just like the feel of those meeples in my hand.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, you can't just play Root with everybody because you got to learn how all those animals, the asymmetric powers work in order to win, So you have to pretty much. It kind of has a legacy aspect because you want to make sure you play with the same people who understands how the game is played. If that makes sense.
Because everybody's got to understand how everything works, or else.
Yeah. So now my number 1 is Escape Plan, and because that game is a table hog, it's huge. And it's just like, every time I look at the box, like I want to play that game so bad, but man, is it a lot to take out that box. So and I love Escape Plan. I just love how it incorporates the theme. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows Escape Plan, and it's just a great game. And I hear it's the lighter of Vito Lacerda's game, so I'm like, okay, now I'm intimidated by the other games.
That's the light one.
I'm scared.
I think Lacerda games you have to have a teacher, someone can teach you.
Totally.
Okay, so let's see, who didn't go? Beneeta? Did you go already?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay, Beneeta. There we go.
I love Terraforming Mars, but it's so long, and no one wants to play a 3 to 4 hour game in my house, and those are my gaming friends right now. Yeah, because I play with the drafting variant. Like, I will never play any other way. So when you add the drafting to it, obviously it's going to extend an already long game.
Yeah.
So I'm sad about that. But the prelude expansion helps like a teeny bit, but it's still very long. I love For Sale like so much. I think it's like one of the best games.
Oh, For Sale.
Good one.
So fun.
It's not so great at 4 players though. Like, I like the full like 6, 7 players. So one day I will play it again. And the last one is Sherlock Consulting Detective. I really enjoy it. I also like reading a lot, but it's, again, like, people who want to play a board game sometimes don't want to read like a whole booklet. And I get that, but I wish more people liked it. So.
Well, you know what, Beneeta, that's the lawyer in you, because and don't take offense at this, but lawyers, they do homework for their job. That's all they do, is they read and write, and it's like homework is your job. So I can see how you would like Sherlock Consulting.
Wait, does no one else like Sherlock Consulting Detective?
I've played it twice.
I haven't played it yet.
I've lost twice.
Oh, you never win, Sherlock. Like, you never win.
You don't win.
No,
there's no way people can win.
No, he's kind of. I don't know what stream this is. This is rated like PG. He's rude. I will say that he's rude. And like, I remember playing a case, and like, I looked at the answers afterwards, and he's like, "You didn't get it at this point. Wow, you're dumb." Essentially, that's what it said.
Wow.
But those 3 are the games I enjoy. Haven't been able to. But I will give an honorary mention to Pandemic Season 0. I have a gaming group that I played 1 and 2 with, so the fact that I haven't been able to play 0 kind of sucks. But
yeah.
Well, it's funny. I'll just chime in real quick because you were talking about you like to read. Our friends that we play Clank Legacy with, like, we loved Clank Legacy. Now we're playing Pandemic Season 0. And my friend Cassie is like so disappointed that there's not as much reading.
Really?
Yeah, she's like, I want more. Like, she loves the story.
Yeah. I forgot who mentioned it. I think it might have been Oscar, but he was like, yeah, when someone's teaching me a game, I don't like all this game takes place in 1700. I'm just like, ooh, I love that. I love like the flavor text in board games.
Sorry, I don't like to be lectured.
That's totally fine. How about you, Jazz?
All right, so this was very, very tough for me. My number 3, I know Ruel will appreciate this game, is definitely Baseball Highlights 2045. It's such an awesome deck builder that I think it's overlooked so frequently just because the theme is baseball. And I think sometimes people think that you have to be a fan of baseball to play the game. But I think if you just like games in general, you'll understand the nuances of the mechanics and understand how tactical the card play is. That's one I wish I could get to the table, more often. And I think that's the one that my wife will probably shy away from playing, because there's other 2-player games she'd prefer to beat me in. But used to playing college baseball. I think that's the only thing I can play now. I feel like I'm too old. My bones are, not the same. So like that's my playing baseball now, right? I quit the over 30 softball league and stuff. But
have you played it solo, Jazz? Have you played Baseball Highlights solo?
I have played it solo. It's fun, but it's something about just playing dueling against someone that, but it is, the solo variant is so hard. I feel like I have a hard time winning it, but it's such a great game. And I think it's something that even if you have more than just 2 people, there's enough in the box that you can have multiple people playing and just kind of like, head to head and kind of make like a little mini tournament of it, which it was in the rule book, but I think it's an awesome day. Like kind of set a few hours to play that game with a couple people. My number 2, is Shadows over Camelot. It's one that it's probably one of the least played games in my collection, but it is, it's more of an entry level type cooperative game. I love the themes of, King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table. I grew up loving that, reading that type of literature, but it's 3 to 7 players, and it plays best at the 6 to 7 player count. Like having that trader at 7 players, it's one that I have a hard time letting go of my collection just because of that. I always want to try and say, hey, you guys want to play a cooperative game, but we love Pandemic, so Pandemic always gets played in this house. So Amanda, if you're ever in New Jersey and you need to play Pandemic, my wife will be the first one to say, let's play Pandemic, because that's her favorite game. Vanilla Pandemic, you name it, she'll play it. And then my number 1 is Champions of Midgard. Of course, I had to have a worker placement game at my number 1, but Champions of Midgard, I think, in my house, I have various that Viking type theme, and I think the one that gets played more frequently, even with just friends, because I think it was a little bit more, I wouldn't say more entry level just to get into, but was Blood Rage. I think the idea of having the miniatures on the table and thing that gets played more frequently. And I just love a dice chucker. I think I've told people before, I come from a competitive Dice Masters background. So the idea of just, rolling dice, any game that you could just roll dice is just great. But, when they incorporate it into a worker placement game and you're battling these monsters, yeah, I have it. I have the whole play mat, all that other stuff, every expansion you need it. But it is one of the games that, when I'm in the mood, I can pull out and I can kind of two-hand that game, play it with, one player, because it's really just the luck of the draw. How are those dice going to roll? But then there is a strategy element, which I think I like about that game as well. So yeah, those are my 3. So Estefania, what about yours?
So I'm gonna try to keep it quick because I just realized the time it is. So, but one of my favorite games to play is Between Two Cities.
Yeah.
But I like to play with multiple people. I just kind of like the excitement and like the engaging of just playing with one person and playing with another person, and then you're like, well, what was my idea here with this person? And I don't know, it's just super fun. But I find it hard to bring it out because I like to play with more players, and it's just me and my partner here, and I'm like, oh, that's not exciting, like, So, and with our board game group, like this. We haven't been able to see them in so long, so that makes it hard to play. Another one is King's Dilemma. I don't super love that, but I want to mention it because it's a game that I started where I had expectations and I was like, oh, I don't think I like this, and then as we kept playing, I really started to enjoy it, but we didn't get to finish. So I feel like I might get to love. I never got the chance to because we were playing right when the pandemic happened. We were like halfway through, so I feel like I might love it if I got to the end. But again, we play with our group, and it's not something that I can just play with my partner. So that's why it's hard to really bring it out. And I'm trying to think. The other one was
Stephanie, real quick. Is it from what I've heard? Is the reason you didn't like it at first? Are the choices too heavy for you? Is that why you didn't like it, or?
Kind of. I felt that it was the choices that you had. I think I didn't understand the whole like the generation thing because I was so focused on just this part. So when you have to make choices, I felt like maybe it was just our group. We were all too opposite, and I just felt like we just didn't go anywhere. But again, that was just the beginning. As we started to play more and we all started to kind of get the hang of it and like what our goal is, like those little ones that you have the goals for your own generation, those ended up being fun afterwards, and I think that's when I started to really like it. But again, we got stuck in the middle, so I don't know when it's going to end, but I think as we keep playing and getting to more like exciting things of actually having repercussions from the things that you did before, I think it'll be more fun.
Oh, nice.
And then another game that I do want to mention, it's kind of like an honorable mention, is Dinosaur Island, because I keep watching videos and stuff about it, but I've never gotten to play it. but I freaking love it and I want to play it so bad. But I literally bought that game 1 week before the pandemic, like when everyone was like, stay home. And we were all prepared. We bought the extra like meatballs and stuff like that, like the little fancy ones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, yes. And then I'm like, oh, okay, it's just the two of us. I don't want to play, like, I don't want to ruin it. So I feel like because we can't get to be together and it's such a heavy game. And with my partner, he doesn't necessarily, he's not a very heavy gamer. He's definitely on the light side. So those kinds of games, I have a hard time bringing it out with him. So really, if we're all together, then he can play that. But if it's just the two of us, it just isn't as exciting. So that's why I kind of have a hard time bringing out those kind of games that are just heavier in general. That's why I mentioned before, we play point salad. So because it's just those lighter games or cat rescue and stuff like that.
You can borrow. I'll let you borrow Duelosaur Island, so that way you two can play that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Yes.
Duelosaur is good.
It is.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are kind of my list. How about you, Tim? I think you're the last one, right?
Oscar.
Oh, Oscar.
Yeah. Well, I got 4. I got 5, but then mostly because they are very table hoarder. High Rise. I took it to a couple plays we did on the past months. We 4 got together and I brought High Rise. I wanted to play Red Cathedral so bad, but they take so much of the table. And with my new guinea pig, I had to go slow. I think maybe King Nomino next, Azul. But yeah, I want to play High Rise. I want to play Red Cathedral. And yes, you will like this. I want to play again Sorcerer City, but it takes such much of a table.
It does.
Yeah.
Huge table hog. Yep.
And every round it takes a lot more space on the table. Yeah, so you don't have a big table with Sorcerer City. There is one moment when your cities are collapsing each other. And I have a special one in my heart that is Scoville. I want to play it, but I had a lot of new things coming, and it's just that okay, I want to keep it for a special moment, but it's mostly I had new things and mostly playing by myself or finding people online to play on Bergamarina or Tabletopia. But those are my 3. No special 1, 2, 3, just the 3 and Scoville. That is a special mention for it. But yeah, Sorcerer City, Red Cathedral, and High Rise. And
Very
Tim?
Nice.
Well, I'll go real quick. So mine 3. My number 3 is War of the Ring. Because that's only a 2-player game, but it's a big time investment. I've got 4 people who I play with. The only 4 people I've ever played the game with, but they'll play anything, but it's just hard getting them together. My second is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's Innovation. And I've only played it with the same people. I've never been at a con or anywhere where somebody says, hey, Tim, anybody interested in playing Innovation? It's like nobody plays that game except the people I know. I just feel that way. I mean, I don't know. But I would love to play with more people. And my number 1 game that
yeah, we'll play.
What's that? Oh, yeah, you play it, Ruel?
We got to play it. Next Dice Tower West, Tim. Let's play it.
I'm down. Yeah.
I'm in too.
Me too.
All right.
Hey, name it. Let's go.
Yeah,
Twilight Imperium.
the last time I played it,
Yes.
the last 2 times I played it actually were against Aldi and Eric, and I beat them both times because I was with Steven, my friend.
Right.
Oh, nice.
The guy I play with here in Las Vegas. And my number 1 game that I just absolutely love, again, it's a big time investment. You have to get the right people to play it because it really hurts your brain and you'll be done for the day, is Dominant Species. I just absolutely love that game. And I just never get it to the table. Ever.
I really want to try it.
Same. That's on my
Yeah, I was just saying I want to play that too because Dominant Species Marine is coming out and soon.
Yes.
And I'm probably going to cover it in BGG News, so I want to have a fresh reference. But yeah, Dominant Species is awesome.
Yes, it's fantastic. Well, folks, we have had a wonderful show tonight. First of all, I just want to thank everybody in the chat who has joined us. And if you aren't in chat, if you're just watching on BGG, thank you so much for watching there. We really appreciate it. And everybody who came over to the Meepleville Twitch channel, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that. I want to say thank you to Grant, Aldi, and Lincoln, who are in the chat, being the moderators, and of course all the regulars in there too. I didn't have a chance to look at the chat too much, but I saw a lot of the regulars. So thank you all for continuing to support us and watch us all here. So, and make sure all of us, you go visit them, subscribe to them, see them. And what we're going to do right now is going to let you know how you can do that and what they've been up to lately. So Dwayne, we're going to go ahead and start with you and let them know where they can find you and what you've been up to lately.
Okay, like Dwayne, Blackboard Gaming. You can find me on YouTube at Blackboard Gaming. And pretty much just making sure I'm consistent with my content. Next video, be talking about the Grand Carnival. And that's it for me. Me and my wife, you'll see us, and we'll see you next time.
All right, sounds good, Dwayne. Thank you so much for joining us. And we've got our lawyer up there in the corner, Beneeta.
Hi, I'm Beneeta. Like, you can find me on Twitch. On Wednesdays I stream Phoenix Fright. Saturdays I do board games, and Sundays I do just chatting about like a recap, of your week, and it's just like chill vibes to like start your work week. So it's at Beneeta_K. I'm there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Beneeta. We really appreciate having you here as always. And who do we have next? We have, let me find this thing here real quick. Oh, there it is. All right. We have Jazz down there.
Oh, how's it going? All right, guys. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Lobby of Hobbies. With our YouTube channel, it's fairly new, but we've been doing 2 series. In our review series, we do a segment called Can You Dig It?, where we break down the dig as, looking at the diversity, whether or not the game is intriguing, and also inviting, and whether or not the game is good. Pretty much simple. That way you see if that game kind of bridges the gap for new, casual, and even experienced gamers. And we also have a segment of we call Lobby Talks, where we just talk about just various topics related to the board gaming hobby. And the most recent one we've done which actually dropped earlier today, is our top 3 reasons. I did this video with my wife. Our top 3 reasons that women and people of color are underrepresented in the hobby. So that's definitely one I would definitely check out. I know it's something that we've been trying to push amongst the community, not only just getting people of color and women more involved. I know Amanda was talking about it earlier, and Ruel, just getting people who are making great content just out there. So we just wanted to, let people know exactly what's going out there and how people can be more represented in this hobby. So, check us out.
Fantastic. Jazz, thank you so much again for joining us as always. And next we have Ruel.
Friends, you can find me at Ruel Gaviola everywhere on the internet. I'm just going to plug 2 things real quick. Number 1 is the Tabletop Live Network event that the brothers Murph and I have organized. That will be happening Saturday, January 30th, starting at 12 p.m. Pacific. It's 24 hours of live stream board games. It's going to be awesome. A lot of great Twitch streamers are going to be playing games and hanging out all day. The other thing I'd like to plug is tomorrow on my Twitch channel, my wife Michelle and I are going to be playing a game, which we'll reveal shortly. But what we're going to be doing is our Meeple Munchies segment. This is an occasional series where Michelle gets a snack box once a month, and we sample the snacks because we're trying to find the ultimate game night snack. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific on my Twitch channel, we're doing Meeple Munchies. So thank you, and thank you, Tim, for having all of us here again.
Well, thank you, Ruel, for joining us as always. And we have Amanda Panda.
So you can find me as Panda Angel, like here, everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Please do follow me either on Twitter or on my Instagram, which is This Panda Loves Games, all underscored instead of spaces, because then you can see my Twitch schedule. I stream twice on my channel, twice on Book of Nerds Twitch channel, and all over the place. So this week I had like 6 different Twitch streams. I have a lot of fun playing games with other people on Twitch. My next stream is tomorrow. It's going to be a arts and crafts stream, so it's going to be interesting. I hope you join me. And then I'll be on Play Renegades channel with Victor Ortiz playing Space Battle Lunchtime. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you will find me on the interwebs and on Twitch sometime.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Amanda. And Estefania.
Sweet. So, you can find me on Twitter mostly. It's right here, Estefania. She's missing the R, just realized. So Estefania R88. You can also find my game that I'm working on, which is Popcats Fighter. I have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of good stuff. And then you can always also find me on Discord on the Break My Game server, and you can also find me on the Seattle Playtest server, where I play there at least once a week or something like that. So feel free to hang out and let's chat.
All right. Thank you, Estefania and Oscar.
Hi, yo soy el Dog Logan. I'm part of the Punchboard Media. Every Friday, I have a new video on YouTube, and that same video goes to Facebook on the Wednesday. I think I will be releasing Lots, a constructive building game. And well, you can find me as El Dog Logan in Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and in Instagram as just El Logan. I have one last ending question for Ruel. Ruel, is your left Ruel a sore loser?
What? Nice.
It was an
You're
interview earlier.
My sore left is, or my Ruel left is not really a sore loser, but my right Ruel may gloat a little bit when he wins.
Thank you. Okay, Candice.
And last but not least, we have Candice.
Yeah, I'm Candice Harris. Thanks for having me and everyone on here again, Tim. It's awesome as usual. You can find me on Twitter at Candy Drum. Also, I post BGG news articles once a week or so. So I do some game previews, overviews, and just talk about new games coming out. I have a show that'll be coming out in the near future called Board Game Breakdown. And I'm also designing a game called Stage Left, which is a game about being a rock band. Yeah, that's it. That's me.
Fantastic.
Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Candice. All right. And last but not least, I guess it's me. My name is Tim, and I'm from Las Vegas. I have Meepleville Board Game Cafe out there. I have a small YouTube channel, Meepleville Board Game Cafe on YouTube. So I do a lot of interviews with people in the industry and designers. I'm also just starting to learn Twitch. And again, thank you all so much for joining here. I do a show on Monday about board game news and just talk. This on Wednesday, and I'll be adding another one just about a recap of the week and about issues and stuff going on. And yeah, so that's just about it. And learning to do more content and trying to get together with more wonderful people. So again, I just like to thank everybody in the chat for joining us. Thank you all for your support. I see every time we go to streams, and I know you can all agree, we see a lot of the same names, a lot of the same people. So it's wonderful that we have such a wonderful, supportive, welcoming, friendly community with everybody. And I appreciate all of you here. And please, folks, all of us do appreciate your support. We appreciate when you subscribe to people on Twitch, when you subscribe to their channel on YouTube, and do whatever. So thank you again for your support. And I will be putting this video up on YouTube in about a day or two, whenever I can, because I don't know the exact parameters. I'm just learning how to do this. I'll make sure everybody's link is in there, so that way you can go follow them, find them wherever you want. And I'll make sure I put timestamps so you can see different segments of the show. But we're here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Bye.